Okay, thank you. Welcome, sit down. This is going to be great, so come on. Okay, me and Pavel, we are both working in IT security. We are entrepreneurs and we do penetration testing and stuff like that. But the project we're going to talk about, it's called Moral Reform, and it's about our cooperation with a Czech artistic group called Stohoven, so stohoven.com. And the artists, they're usually very good at raising very important questions. So could you tell me what is the worst type of vulnerability or a security problem or an issue? What is the worst one ever? Yeah, that's part of the answer, but basically any that you don't know about. If you know about it, you can think about how to fix it. That's easy. But if you don't know about it, it's very problematic. And Stohoven are asking these very important questions, and we don't necessarily provide answers. We don't even agree on the answers. But just to give you an overview of the kind of the projects we work on, here's a short video, and I hope that it will blow your mind. Literally. So I hope sounds perfect.
Ranní vysílání České televize napadli hackři. Napojili se do živého vysílání panoramatických záběrů s informacemi o počasí na programu ČT2 a simulovali v nich výbuch atomové bomby.
Svůj čin vysvětlují tak, že chtěli simulací atomového výbuchu upozornit na manipulaci s realitou v médiích.
Hackři se přes svůj počítač připojili zřejmě k této kameře a iluzi atomového hřibu vytvořili do černé.
Okay, so if you want to hack public TV, there's a very simple way to do it. You just disconnect the cable from the camera, you connect the cable with your own signal and press play. Very easy. And it's something that is very similar to all these projects we're going to talk about. There will be two more. Is that they're not technologically advanced projects. That's just like, if you know about the trick, you could do it anytime. It's not a technological issue, but no one has tried. And so this project was about the main question, like if people watch TV or read news, where does the information come from? Is it true? Who wrote it? Why this information, and so on. And it's also about our bias. So our minds are programmed literally by evolution to think and perceive and gather information about threats, negative information. So if you're in the woods, in a jungle, and there's a snake and it could kill you, it's much more important information than the fact that the weather is really nice. Yeah? So this is how the media works, and I can't say that it's directly their fault, but it's what we want to see. So the media, they're full of this negative information, traffic accidents, murder, natural catastrophes, and stuff like that. And it's not in direct relation to the current reality we are living in, because we are all here, we haven't been in an accident, there was no flood that killed us, and by any objective definition, it's totally irrelevant information for our day-to-day lives. But we are attracted to it, we seek it. So this is one of the questions, like why do we watch it? What information could we get? And the group learned in a very difficult way something that that is sadly true, that they all had their own cell phones with them, so they're very easily tracked. So they had to tell to this nice judge about their nice art project, which is not very usual in the art world, and usually it's something really good if you have to explain it to a judge. So they were trying to put it in a way that we were causing public panic or something like that. Fortunately for us, they were not able to find anyone who would say that they were frightened by this, because it's obviously fake. Like even the nuclear explosion doesn't look like that. So, yeah, lesson learned: don't bring your phone on these type of events, and we learned about it. There's one guy that was present during the project, and he wasn't here standing in front of the judge, and he had an anonymous prepaid SIM card, so they didn't track him. That's very famous Tohoven project, and they kind of started building ideas about identity, democracy, parliament, money, and other things. And one of the projects that followed this one, I have to say there are documentary movies with English subtitles online about most. Yeah? Yeah. So, okay, so all these projects, they are on the border of the law. So we are testing the border, testing the lines where we can go. For the group, it's very emotional and it's very frightening. So if you go bungee jumping, it's frightening, but you know that you're fixed and you're safe. We don't know with these projects, or they didn't know. And the thing is that it's kind of a purpose of this project to test this boundary. In this particular case, they couldn't prove that the nuclear blast caused any panic, but they got fine of 100,000 Czech crowns, which is something like 3,000 euros, very roughly. I don't know exactly. And at the same year, they won a prize from the National Czech Gallery, so a state gallery. It was a state TV and state gallery that basically the prize money covered the fine and all the lawyers and stuff. So business case was zero.
Yeah.
But I'd rather not do it if I can avoid it. But it's kind of the thing, and it's always at the border of the law. You will see with other projects. So okay, we are here as persons walking around this world, and we have our fancy RFID biometric passports and ID cards, and we need to show them all around, and these state officers ask for them, and there's a driver's license and all this stuff. And there's also other secondary things that tie us to our identity. One of them is cell phone, as we learned, sadly. And so this other project was about identity. So it's about absurdities of our society that tries to cope with identity issues of their citizens. And we also learned that it's not easy to go to jail without a valid national ID card, because if you want to enter the jail, they say, oh, please show me your ID card, we need to know that it's you, and if you don't have it, you have a problem, you can go to jail. Or it's not that easy. So this was the direct follow-up to the court proceedings, and the idea was very simple. The group, they all had the same haircut. They took up photos with the black T-shirts, and then they used the morphing software to create something like inter-identities. So the resulting photos look like this. So there were pairs, two and two guys, and they all created this intro identity, and they showed the ID card to their parents, preferably mothers, and they couldn't tell that it's not them. It's one of them was like kind of more fat in the face, the other one was more slim, but the same picture shown to two mothers, and they both said that it's them. So of course, if you can fool your mother, then you can very easily fool the state bureaucrat that is issuing you the ID card. So in Czech Republic, when you applied during this project, when you applied for an ID card, you would have to bring your own photo. So they printed these nice photos, went there, and then they exchanged their identities for a few months. It's also, okay, is it legal? Who knows? Well, we tested. The state couldn't prove that we actually caused any damage. So if there's no damage, there's no crime. At least it should be like that, I believe. And okay, so there's a vulnerability. This is very easily fixed. You just go there, they take your picture, and the vulnerability is gone. So it's something that you can fix very easily, but it also raised another important question, and that is, how far can you go with this? So they not only exchange their ID cards, which is very frightening. You have to trust someone else with your identity. They could apply for loans, they could take a mortgage, they could go to a wedding and marry someone you don't want to marry. That's actually what we tried. So, of course, the question is, where did the bride sleep that night? So, okay, this is kind of complicated, so be with me. The guy on the right had the ID card of the guy on the left who wanted to marry this girl and use her name. So, of course, they didn't have their own ID cards, they exchanged them. So, during the wedding ceremony, this guy and that guy exchanged. So, the groom was the witness and the witness was the groom. They had to walk the aisle exchanged. And then that guy on the left got a new name without him signing any papers or anything. So yeah, so he still has her name. Still, until now, they even if it's been proven that the marriage was not correct, it's still valid, and so is everything else. So what else did they do? What can you do with an ID card? Any ideas? Gun permit, scary. Pilot license. What else? Get a passport, go to China, go to the UK, where the security is very scary, important, and so on. Yeah, apply for gun permit. So here are the pictures, and they tried everything of that. So again, question, why do we have these identity cards? 200 years ago, most countries didn't have ID cards. A lot of countries don't use ID cards, but they do use driver licenses or some other form of identification. You could travel without a passport. Like the European Union is selling us this great Schengen area, which I really like, but it's great that you don't have to travel with a passport. Is there a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I was interested if you didn't have to do biometric passports or, fingerprints for the government.
Not then, but now probably you would. But if I don't think it's in the centralized database. So, okay, you apply for a new passport, and if the old passport is not biometric, they don't know that you have a different fingerprint. So, it's.
But then you go to the airport, when they switch back to their proper identities.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy has a passport with different biometrics than the one that he actually has, right?
Yeah, but they also applied for the passport using their fingerprints.
Exactly. So
yeah, so
at the airport you present the passport, press the finger to the
Yeah, but they got the passport with a new identity. So the right identity is on the passport. Yeah, but they got passport with the new fake ID card, so the passport matched the fingerprints. Yeah, but yeah, this problem happens.
Maybe it's necessary to mention that this project was done in the time when it was possible to obtain for a new national ID, just that you make your own photo and just brought you to the office or issuing office, but it's not possible anymore. So at this time in Czech Republic, the situation with issuing new ID documents is the same like in probably in Poland, also like in Slovakia, that they make photo of you directly at the issuing place.
Yeah. But the main point here is that there's one single vulnerability that takes you all the way to the, like, if you do it, there's a whole world of possibilities what you can do. And I personally, I haven't tried yet, but I don't think it's very difficult to bribe a police officer to give you a new ID card under a different name. Like, everything has a price. And there's this single point of failure, and I don't think it's a failure because I don't believe that we should have these mandatory ID cards. Yeah, here's the thing. Everyone is totally scared when you discriminate on race, on gender, on things like this. Religion. Yeah, it's always written in a constitution that you can't do it. But all the states discriminate based on where you were born or your citizenship, which is weird. Like, I don't understand why a Chinese guy couldn't travel to Slovakia without filling all those forms. Like, of course, the state would tell you, okay, what about the terrorists and the bad guys? And they say, I think we have a lot of them anyway at home, and it's not a very, very common use case. So most of the people who want to come to any country are honest. They want to see the Statue of Liberty or President Palace and walk around and maybe find a work or something like that. But they are people, and there's this very weird discrimination where an immigration officer looks at you, asks you 5 questions, and they say, nah, you're not too good for us, go away. So I don't like it, and yeah, here's one project that shows that it's not even secure. It's, of course, if you're a terrorist, how difficult is it to get a fake ID card? A bunch of young artists could do it. They're not hackers, they're artists, they're painters, filmmakers, and so on, and they did it. So I don't think it's that difficult for anyone who wants to harm the country to fake this. So I personally don't believe that this should happen in this world at all. I really like that at least in some parts of EU and some parts of USA, you don't have to show any document when you are traveling across borders. But if you look at the Earth from the space, there are no borders. There's just land and water. So, okay. So the main idea about this project is that these artists, they can use these hackers' ideas and principles of hacking and use it in pretty unique ways, I think. So yeah, we are hackers by trade. We make our living by penetrating these banks and doing all those penetration tests and stuff like that. But this is very unique. So if there's someone who can use this technology in a completely different way, I think it has a lot of value. And we don't propose solutions to these problems. So we say, something is really wrong with this. Please, people, think about it. So that's it. And now about the Czech parliament. Okay.
Okay, so till now this was just an introduction, and I would like to say something about our recent project, the moral reform. As you have probably noticed, according to our T-shirts. We are more geeks than artists. So the question is how we met together with the guys from Stahoven, this Czech artistic group. It happened maybe 3 years ago. I had a presentation about digital privacy issue in Žilina at one conference. And in that time I met two guys from this artistic group, Korzhen and Romeo. And they had a presentation about their recent Stahoven projects. When I met these guys, I showed them how it is very easy to send spoofed SMS text message from arbitrary sender number to arbitrary recipient number. And these guys, they were completely shocked how it is possible. Because most people are aware that it's possible to send fake or spoofed emails, but most ordinary people or most common people are definitely not aware of the fact that this can be done also in case of SMS text messages. So you can send a text message from arbitrary number to another number. And also this one can be made in case of classical GSM calls, for example. So I showed them this possibility. They were really impressed, and it took them maybe few hours, 2 or 3 hours, just to find out how it is possible to use this great technical feature. So, firstly, I would like to explain why did we decide to address Czech politician or Czech government. Maybe you know, maybe not. Czech government or Czech politician, they have really big crisis as politician, and in some other countries there is quite strong moral decay. So a lot of these politicians are corrupt. In Czech Republic during recent year, every year they have a different government, and after 1 year usually some politicians are accused of some corruption, and they had to leave.
So you can say, make a wish, the government is falling down.
Yes.
Really nice.
So in Czech Republic the situation is really bad and really sad. 90% of all Czech citizens, they're really disappointed of any Czech party. So we just wanted to exploit or to use this fact in our project, and we invented drama, because these guys they're artists and filmmakers, and they had many experiences with writing scenarios. We decided to create a drama, and we decided to call this drama Moral Reform. So the Moral Reform is a parliamentary drama of 223 persons, including all members of parliament, including Czech Prime Minister, including Czech President, including a lot of people from Czech media, like press, with 585 lines. So all this drama, all this text was represented by 505 or more than 600 SMS text messages. And we sent all these messages across whole Czech parliament, between each member of the parliament and each politician who was sitting at one time at one place. Maybe you know this guy, but probably not. This guy is Rad. It is Czech politician who was accused of corruption. He stole about 9 million Czech crowns. He had this huge amount of money in his house. So in this picture we can see he was arrested because of this crime, and because he was member of Czech parliament, he had an official defending speech in this parliament. Because it was quite important event in Czech Republic, we decided to use this fact, and we planned sending or execution of this drama and sending all hundreds of these text messages exactly during this defending speech. A lot of people in Czech Republic were watching this live stream. It was broadcasted by the government Czech television. So we were watching this live stream, and we tried to firstly we tried to control if it works or not. So we tried to send some testing SMS messages. Okay, so this was the live video stream, and when it started, we sent the first text messages, and okay.
Okay, so there's no sound because it's only politician talking. You would be interested?
Okay, so on this video you can see corrupt politician Rad on the left side.
It's not Rad, by the way, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's
some guy,
the prime minister.
On the left side you can see popular Czech politician Karel Schwarzenberg, who is sleeping all the time during his work. On the right side,
That's, by the way, the best thing to do. If I was a politician, I would also sleep there.
just sleep. Yeah. On the right side you can see female politician Karolina Pík, and at the
She
beginning,
just got a message.
we sent spoof text message from this sleeping guy.
So she's
To her.
contemplating.
And she received this message and thinking, what the fuck?
And now she's going to write about it on Facebook, probably. Thinking.
And he's still sleeping.
Okay, so that's the live stream that we watched.
And the text message that was sent from Karel Schwarzenberg to Karolina Pík was the text message: observing the current political situation, I realized that it cannot continue this way anymore. We have to do something significant, something that will fundamentally change our society. So, as you can see, this text message was really highly positive. And not only this one, but each message we sent was really highly positive. And thanks to this first message, we definitely knew that it worked, and we could send another batch of our text messages. So we started to send another few hundreds of text messages.
I just want to say one thing. So when it started to happen, they unfortunately realized very fast that these messages are fake, because the seating is not set in the Czech parliament. So if there was someone sitting next to me and I got the text message from him and he's sleeping, I realized that it's probably fake. But what was very interesting is that the politician, he was speaking, but no one in the parliament was paying attention. They were talking about their mobile phone, so there was this whisper, and you could see it on the live stream that people are talking, they're walking around and showing phones to each other. So it kind of boycotted the defending speech.
Yeah. And the bad consequences of this event was, for example, we can see another text message. Maybe it does not look like that, but I like you anyway. The bad consequences of this drama was that all politicians in Czech Republic who had official speech about sending these spoof text messages, they did not focus on the content of the text messages. They completely ignore it. They care not about the content, which was our goal of the project, just to be to moral reform, to be better, to be honest. They focus on the fact, for example, how we gain mobile numbers of these all people, all politicians. Also, they accuse Czech mobile operator how it is possible to send so many spoof text messages. So they try to find some victim, and it was quite sad because our original goal of this project was just to demonstrate that everyone in parliament, every Czech politician should be improved or should be better, be more moral, don't be corrupt, and so.
So it's also a very, very good strategy, because if you think about it, if you receive the text like that, you can't go on live TV and tell to the reporter, I don't agree with these text messages that said that I should be better. It's wrong. They wouldn't do it, so they try to avoid the content at all possible costs. So
Yeah.
they're really good at what they're doing.
Okay, now I would like to say more words about the most. Yeah.
One more question. This was my first thought. How did you get the phone number?
That's a trade secret for now, because but it's not too difficult. But you can get them. We'll show you. We just don't want to, Well, okay.
So, because this is a technical conference, I would like to say more technical words about how we achieve it and what was the most difficult part of this project. Maybe you know, when you want to send anonymous text message at the moment, it's quite easy. You just find the proper online service where it is possible to buy a lot of text messages with the possibility of sending spoofed sender, for example. But it's much more difficult when you want to achieve anonymity. So the most difficult part of our project was definitely achieving anonymity. Fortunately, in Czech Republic, also in Austria, it is possible to buy anonymous prepaid SIM card, which is, for example, not legal. It's strongly illegal in Slovakia. I don't know what the situation is in Poland, but so we bought anonymous prepaid SIM cards. Before that, we tried anonymous PayPal account, to make an anonymous PayPal account. It was really difficult and complicated, and PayPal as a company, they have a lot of security checks, and it was really difficult to bypass these security checks. So then we tried to use we tried to buy anonymous text messages for Bitcoins. We found the website called Text for Coins, but unfortunately it was not possible to buy so many. We needed a few hundreds of text messages, and it was not possible to buy using Bitcoins on this service. So we had to find some other solutions, some other alternatives. So we did it in such a way that we bought anonymous prepaid SIM cards. In other Czech supermarket, we bought anonymous credit. We charge this anonymous SIM card with this anonymous credit. Of course, our official mobile phones we left at home, just not to be tracked. We have some really bad experiences from the past projects. And then we found another some online service in Estonia or Latvia, and we just convert our mobile credit from anonymous SIM cards to few hundreds of these anonymous text messages, and because these
it's paid by SMS. Basically.
Yeah, so it was paid by SMS, by credit, by mobile credit. Yeah, but at this moment there are some other ways how it is possible to pay anonymously. I would like to mention the service which is called Cash for Web, which is completely anonymous Austrian prepaid card, MasterCard. So you can go to Austria and buy a few of them, of these cards, with a limit of 150 euros. And using this prepaid card, you can pay any online service completely anonymously. So it was really well.
Okay, so then we created this website. This website shows the structure of the parliament. There's an office of the president and all the text messages. So if it's a parliamentary drama, you should be able to see it. So this is the script. There's also a page with all the text, but you can see it in the time. So there's a time slider. You can see the text messages. They're translated to English. So if you want to have some fun, even without understanding, it's pretty interesting. We don't understand Czech politics either. That's the Czech president, and yeah, so that's the castle. There's some press around, and colors mean different political parties. And this slider, it shows the text messages as they were sent. So the last one was the text messages from the castle, from the I think secretary of the castle to all the heads of the political parliament, calling an urgent meeting of heads of all parliamentary parties on acceptation of the moral reform. And after MP's meeting, Mr. President is going to expect all of them in the castle and discuss this moral reform. I don't think they went there. But, okay, the reaction of the media was not very positive. They were, it was very limited. They were focusing on the corruption scandal. There were some news about this, but there should be something more. So we created some part called the Moral Reform 2, the public round. So this is the contemporary art gallery in Czech Republic. There's this installation with moral reform, the same structure of the parliament. And you can see there are politicians and their phone numbers. So if you paid, if you bought a ticket and went to there, you could get all the phone numbers. So this is, for example, the phone number of the Czech president at the time. And it's not only about the numbers. There was this nice phone that had an anonymous SIM card, and you could text any of your politicians. This had very serious media reaction because, of course, if you can text a politician anonymously, it's not going to be nice. So there were death threats and stuff, and they really didn't like this. They were talking about it much more than the first round of the project. A lot of media attention and so on. So one of the main reactions, of course, was that the politicians said, well, you should release your phone numbers as well. If you're holding us to a standard, you should do the same thing. So yeah, here are our phone numbers. All of the other guys from the group released theirs, so feel free to text us. We haven't received any death threats yet, but we receive a lot of really nice and interesting text messages from time to time. So if people watch our talks and so on, they can write us. So we have no problem with this. The politicians had this problem. I bet someone is going to ask about legal consequences, so I spare you the time. All was legal, everything was perfect, and phone numbers of the employees of public sector and politicians is not private information in Czech Republic. So by releasing this information, no one has done anything wrong. People should have those numbers. So don't worry about it. It's not even you couldn't even get a fine. It's not private information.
Yeah. So fortunately, we were not sued because of this.
Yeah, but they tried. They were talking about it, but they said that it's all right. So we have 5 minutes for questions, I guess, right? Questions? There's one.
I'm just curious, did your involvement in this Stochoven action cause any international affair? Because you both are Slovakian, not Czech.
No.
Maybe you should
But
try this in Poland.
we spoke about it publicly a few months after it was all finished. So the group the group Stochoven doesn't have like fixed set of members. So a lot of members just come for one project and go. So even if you say that Stochoven did this, it's not names of the people. So they didn't. Maybe they did know, but we were not public with this information. And I think it was maybe even 1 year after the project that I had a TEDx talk, a very short one about hacktivism and this. And yeah, I travel to Czech Republic quite often, and I wasn't arrested or anything, but you know, really, the politicians, they wanted this to go away. They didn't want to talk about it. They wanted just to be over and do their own business. So, thankfully, but you never know. Like, when we did it, we didn't know what would happen. Like, I personally think that if we did this in Slovakia, it would end much differently. So,
Yeah, that's the problem is that Stochoven, like artistic group, has a really good reputation in Czech Republic. So no politician or no man in Czech Republic usually can afford to sue some of these guys. But I'm more than sure that if we did the similar project in Slovakia, not under brand of Stochoven, it's quite likely we would end up in jail.
So the first reaction was that it's a problem of mobile operators and they should fix it. And why didn't the Secret Service know about this? How did they get the phone numbers? And how is it possible to do it? You could cause an international incident. And they were having this big guys talk about it. And when they learned, I think the next day or 2 days later, that it's a project of Stochoven, they were just nah, okay, we know them. So it was pretty okay. Yeah.
So there's a good feature of artistic group that you can afford doing such thing and such theoretically dangerous stuff without possibility to be sued.
Yeah.
So was it hard to get the phone numbers of all the members of the parliament?
It wasn't hard, but we don't want to tell how we got. But
Okay.
we got it from
Okay.
the people who had them, and
Okay.
we didn't hack anywhere to do anything wrong. We just got them in an Excel sheet. So
And the second question, did the bride knew about the fake ID?
yes, of course, she's member of the group. So
Okay.
they got married because of the project, basically.
Like regarding this Citizen K, this fake marriage and also the gun permission, all of these are still valid, despite the fact that these documents are not valid anymore.
So basically, how the state deals with this problem is that they say that it's wrong to do it, but there's no process when someone does it. So like there is no way to revoke these
cancel,
things and so on. So
Okay, so I have a question. Well, do you know about any other actions that have been inspired by Stochoven's actions? Because in Poland there was a wave of freedom of information questions about different politicians' phone numbers. So I guess some people heard about your action. And I'm not sure how it finished, but there was a court case about the president of Poland's mobile number, because I guess it's comfortable if the country pays for your mobile calls, but on the other hand, it's considered public information.
actually, I don't think that most of the phone numbers were paid by the, well, in the end they were paid by, but they were their private numbers mostly. But yeah, I don't know, like, I think it's at least morally correct to kind of communicate with people that vote for you. I don't know, like it depends on the law and everything, so I don't know how it's in Poland and so on. But Even some politicians, even in Slovakia, they publish their phone numbers on their website, especially before elections. So some of them even have them on the billboards. So it's not very uncommon to publish these. But I don't know what's right. We just asked the question. Any other question?
Okay, if not, thank you very much for the interesting
Thank
lecture.
you.
Big applause.
Thank you a lot.